Hello and welcome to More to the Story. I'm your host, Janna Maron. In addition to this podcast, I also publish a literary arts magazine called Under the Gumtree. Under the Gumtree publishes creative nonfiction and visual art, and you can find out all about the magazine over at underthegumtree.com. There's information there on subscribing, on submitting, and we recently introduced a new option where if you want to and you are able to submit with a little bit higher fee, it's $25 and you can get editorial feedback on your work. And, it's really important to support small publications like ours. We had to do an email over the summer that was, hey, we need help, and ask for new subscriptions. And the new subscriptions directly contributed to paying the printer bill from the summer issue. And we were late publishing by about a month because of a lack of funds. So if it's within your budget and you like the type of thing that we're doing over at Under the Gumtree, head on over there to underthegumtree.com, check us out, and see if there's an opportunity for you to support us either with a subscription. Gift subscriptions are available, as well as submitting, and that's a way you can support us. Hi, and welcome back to More to the Story after my little summer hiatus. I think my last episode was published at the beginning of June, and at the time I said I was going to take a break, and I didn't know how long the break was going to be, and it turned out to be a whole summer-long break, which is fine. That has to happen sometimes. And I'm back. I'm slowly coming out of that little, should we call it a sabbatical? Was it a sabbatical? I don't really know. Out of that little break. We'll just call it a break because that's truly what it was. I was spending time thinking, planning, refining. I feel like I've been doing a lot of that work in the last year or so since my relapse. It's actually been almost exactly 3 years since a relapse of multiple sclerosis. It started on August 18th, 2022. And so I'm recording this episode on September 5th, and I believe it's going to go live sometime next week on like the 8th or 9th. And so when you're listening to this, I'm going to say the 3-year anniversary of that relapse was last month. It was just about 2 weeks ago, I guess. And I've been doing a lot of reflecting, refining, pivoting, trying new things since that relapse, or not even since the relapse, because I did have to pause completely and not work in my business at all for about 1.5 years because of the severity of the relapse. I wasn't able to use my hands. I wasn't able to work on the computer. And so, for the work that I do as a book coach and an editor, everything is on the computer. And it was really hard for me I couldn't use the computer keyboard. I couldn't use a mouse trackpad. And so I paused everything. And by the way, the full story of that relapse and what happened and how I came out of it is one of the first episodes from the beginning of 2025. So you can go back in the archive and look for an episode about like an update. I forget the title. I'm sorry. I'm a bad podcaster, okay? Like if I were official and legit, I would have like a bulleted point list of topics to get through and all the things that I want to mention, and complete with the official title of the episode and whatnot. And I would have all that like on a document in front of me on my screen. I don't have any of that. I literally hit record and I just start talking. And that's one of the ways that I'm able to do this podcast and continue to do it and come back to it even after taking like 3 months off. Because I'm making it easy for myself. And it's the only way I can do things like this going forward. I'm learning about myself. So all that to say, I don't have the name of the podcast episode, but if you go back to early 2025, I started posting and sharing new episodes of this podcast sometime in February 2025. And one of the first episodes, it might have even been the very first episode, is something about an update and what I've been up to, or like what's been going on for me. It's basically an update episode. So you can get the full story of the relapse and everything that was happening for me on that episode. So I don't want to get too deep into the details there, but the point I'm trying to make is Since returning to the business, which was sometime last year in 2024, I've been trying to figure things out. I've been trying to land on not just a way that I can work sustainably, but on a way that resonates with the people that I'm trying to reach and the people that I'm trying to serve, which are women writing nonfiction, incorporating personal story. And guess what? One of the upcoming episodes is going to be about the genre, quote, nonfiction, that word, whether I need to start using a different word. It's going to be about understanding the genre of, quote, nonfiction and the different types of genres that fall under that larger umbrella title. That's coming up soon. It might even be the next episode after this one. And I don't know yet because I don't have my episodes all planned out like the way most official podcasters do. So bear with me here. But I've been realizing that one of the things, and this is feedback that I've been getting as I talk to people and get support, and I've been working with a couple different coaches to help me figure things out in the business. And one of the pieces of feedback that I've been getting is the women I'm trying to reach do not resonate with the term nonfiction for the type of book that they want to write. They hear that term and they think biography or autobiography or history books or like a science book or, something really fat and heavy and technical. And that's not what I do. And that's not a full representation of the nonfiction genre. And so for right now, I'm going to say that I work with women who are writing books, nonfiction books that incorporate personal story. So for me, the key is personal story. So I haven't always used that term either, because if I just say personal story, that doesn't fully explain the type of book that I'm working on either. So there's, this is something I'm working on and fine tuning and figuring out as I go and learning that, okay, part of what I need to do is start getting more clear on how I talk about the work that I do, who I can serve, and the type of books that I work on. So that's coming. So in the meantime, this is almost like a secondary update episode / reintroduction / just getting back into the swing of things to say hello and welcome back and thank you for being here and thank you for hanging in with me as I go dark for a little while and come back and reemerge and say, okay, I'm going to do this now. I'm going to try this now. I'm doing things differently around here. So Substack is going to become a bigger piece of my business and what I'm doing. I've been publishing only the podcast episodes here since the beginning of the year, and I'm going to start publishing what used to be my weekly email using an email service provider, which is called ConvertKit, or it used to be called ConvertKit. Now it's called Kit. And I had pretty much since the beginning of 2020 when I launched the business, I've been sending a weekly email, and there have been ebbs and flows with that. Like when I took a break from the business, for example, this last summer when I was not doing, I wasn't doing the podcast or the email for the 3 months that I had kind of taken this break to figure things out for the business. So there have been times where I've paused and taken a break from the email, but since the beginning of 2020, I was pretty consistent with sending a weekly email. And I'm going to revive that writing form as a post here on Substack, but you can also get it by email. So when you subscribe to Substack, if you're unfamiliar with the platform, you subscribe by email. You get the posts in your email inbox if you want them, but you can also go online and read the posts archived online, kind of like a blog. So it does both. The posts are published on the website like a blog, and they also go to subscribers by email. If you've been around since the early days of blogging, you may think, oh, that sounds like the old days of blogging where people could subscribe to the blog and get it by email. Well, yeah, but Substack does it in such a way that it's email first. They have to subscribe by email, and they get email. You get your email in the inbox, and then if you want to peruse anything beyond the individual email that comes to your inbox, you need to go online to the website or use the app. There is an app You can download the app and aggregate all of your subscriptions in the app in one place. So if you're advanced with technology or you prefer, app-based reading and you want to do it on the go on your mobile phone, that's the way to do it with the app. So that's the biggest change that's happening, is the email is going to go from an email service to Substack, where now it's going to also be available online. And there's now a paid subscription, because that's one of the other things that Substack does, is that it makes offering a paid subscription really easy for people like me. So you can sign up for free, no pressure, and you'll be getting all the same things that you've gotten from me before. If you've been a subscriber of mine to my email list, you'll get you'll get the podcasts, you'll get the emails, the weekly posts, and I'm going to start saying almost weekly or mostly weekly, like mostly weekly podcasts, mostly weekly emails, because I'm taking the pressure off of myself to sustain consistently publishing and releasing on a weekly basis. So I might have something this week and next week, because I'm kind of relaunching and there's a few things that I want to get to you so that they're out there and ready. And then I might shift into like an every other week cadence. And you know what that does for me is it makes the things that I have to share with you last a little bit longer. I don't have to come up with as much stuff. And again, it's easy for me. That means I can sustain it. That means I can keep going. That means I can continue to support you in this way, and also make and free up my time and my capacity and my energy for the work that I do with paid clients, which obviously that's how I make a living. And so I need to make more time to do that type of work in the business and not be so drained by things like this. And yeah, I'm learning about how different types of activities is more draining, are more draining for me depending on what the activity is. And you can tell just by listening, or if you're on YouTube watching, I'm pretty animated. I'm putting out a lot of energy right now, because when you're listening, I want you to feel that from me. I want you to feel engaged. I want you to feel like, oh my gosh, this girl is like really into what she has to offer, and how much of that energy would transfer to me if I were to work with her. And so I love doing these podcasts, and as soon as I'm done, I'm going to have like a little bit of an energy low, because I've just released all of this energy, which brings me to something else I want to share with you, which is I've been learning about a new sort of personality analysis tool called human design. Maybe you've heard about it. It's more akin, I think, to astrology, because it's based on your particular type is based on your birth, like the time and place, day, time, and place of birth. And it's also more specifically helping to understand your energy, how your energy presents itself. And so I have known for a while that I'm a human design manifester, but I haven't really learned and understood what that means and how it manifests and presents in my life and in my work. And so I did have a reading with a friend of mine maybe like 2 or 3 weeks ago. Her name is Ilona Pamplona, and I highly recommend her and her work. She's amazing. I met her actually about 2.5 years ago, the first time I went to Alt Summit in Palm Springs, which I've talked about on this podcast several times. And she and I have stayed in touch. Just kind of briefly on Instagram, like direct messages and stuff. We're not like besties. Maybe we will be someday. I really like her. But I reached out to her recently when I had a question about, hey, I have this experience where like ideas and visions kind of like come to me fully formed. And I've been reading about the human design manifestor and learning that, manifestors are kind of these visionaries. And so I wanted some input and some feedback on, am I just like generating ideas for myself, or is that part of my experience as a human design manifestor? Is that how a manifestor's kind of visioning would potentially function for someone like me? And so she gave me a reading, and she primarily focuses on the way human design affects and shows up in your work life and your business life. And for me, the timing was perfectly aligned because of all, like what I was just explaining, all of this thinking and reflecting and pivoting and trying new things that I've been doing in the business. Her perspective was really helpful for me to start to learn and understand that manifestors are initiators, meaning I am here to initiate and spark and move things into existence. And I do that through these big surges of energy that then require deep rest, because I'm releasing, it's like when she said this to me, the thing that I thought of and that comes to mind for me when I imagine how this like an image to think about how this operates is like the spark plug of an engine, and how much energy is required to get that spark going. And then once the engine is turned on, it can like go and sustain consistently because the energy has already fueled the power, right? But that initial spark, I don't know if you can hear this. I'm doing it right by the microphone, so I'm assuming you can hear that I'm snapping my fingers. That initial spark is the thing that requires this surge to get things going. And it's a similar concept to, like, imagine that you are you're thinking about starting some new kind of like exercise program or training plan to run a 5K for the first time in your life, which is something I did way back in my 20s. In fact, I think I use this program that may still be around if people are into it, called Couch to 5K, which is another perfect sort of like mental image where your habit and your default mode is you're sitting, maybe even like laying, fully lounging on the couch, watching TV, eating snacks, popcorn, potato chips, whatever. How much energy does it take for you to like stand up, get yourself up off the couch and out the door to go run if it's something you haven't done before? And so those are the two images that come to mind for me when I think about the energy of a manifestor, and my role here is to be that spark and to set things in motion. And that initial spark also has a ripple effect. So maybe it's not necessarily limited or confined to just the people around me, but it permeates and it kind of like ripples out, right? And so I'm sharing all of that with you because I'm learning this about myself and understanding that, there's a reason that I am this animated and this excited and this energized, for lack of a better word. And it is because I just am naturally inclined to motivate and get things going. And yeah, it's draining. And yeah, in fact, as I am learning this about myself, and I think and I reflect back on my life, and in particular since my MS diagnosis, which was in 2012, but my first symptom presented in 2011, I've just been like, oh shit, my body is telling me when I am overdoing it and when I need to rest. It's basically forced me into these periods of deep rest when I have been pushing myself to sustain this level of energetic exertion that I'm just not built for. So I'm sharing all of that because this new understanding about myself is empowering me to, number one, show up more enthusiastically, more energetically, to not be so worried about reining myself in or holding back, and also to say to you confidently that this is the kind of energy you have access to when you work with me. And the proof is in the pudding. I mean, that's so fucking cliche, and I don't really give a damn, but go to moretothestory.co/about. I have a new section on there where I have the book covers of clients with books that have been published. Since I started this business, there are 4 of them. I can't even remember now. It's either 4 or 5. And between now, the time that I'm recording this podcast episode, the beginning of September 2025, between now and June 2026, 4 more clients will have books published. In fact, the first one of those is coming out in less than 90 days. It's coming out the beginning of September. The beginning of December. And that author is Barbara Caver, and her book is a piece of Cuba. A little piece of Cuba. I'm so sorry, Barbara, for butchering the title of your book when I'm trying to be promoting it here. But it's available for pre-order right now. So if you're listening to this podcast episode, go over to making things easy, not even going to edit out when I stumble over words. Bookshop.org and search Barbara Caver, A Little Piece of Cuba, and pre-order that book. It's about Barbara's experience rediscovering her heritage as a Cubana Americana. And after a visit that she made to Cuba for the first time when the embargo was lifted. And I think Barbara, I'm not going to say the date because I don't remember when you made the trip, but all the information is on the book description once you check it out at bookshop.org. And follow Barbara. She's on Substack. She's doing all kinds of stuff to start promoting her book in advance of the release at the beginning of December. And I think she's even going to be doing, I know she's going to do a launch party in Queens, which is Queens, New York, which is where she lives. And I think she's going to be doing a couple of other events in support of the book launch. So go follow Barbara because you can support her and follow her. And if you're in any of the areas where she's doing her events, show up, meet her, get her book. Yes, I am going to start plugging my clients more because that is how we all support each other and succeed. We succeed when we support each other, right? The saying is that a rising tide lifts all boats. So let us all participate in rising the tide so that we can all rise too, so that we can all lift each other. Okay, I feel like that's a good place to stop for today. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for listening. You can learn more about me and my work at moretothestory.co. You can check out the books that my clients have published on our About page, moretothestory.co/about. You can learn more about Under the Gumtree at underthegumtree.com. And you can follow me on Instagram at Janna Marlise. You can get more out of what I have to offer for Substack subscribers with the paid subscription. And I didn't even tell you what that was going to start to include, but I'll just say here at the end, the paid subscription is going to be more access to me and the More to the Story community for things like invitations to special events, such as my Ask the Editor AMA sessions, Q&A with writers and publishing pros, and virtual writing retreats that I offer on a monthly basis, and really anything else fun I can think of. So right now the subscription is $8 a month or $80 for the year, and the yearly subscription brings that monthly cost down to $666 a month. So it's really not a lot to support me and get some additional access. And what's the other thing I usually say here at the end? Oh, the theme song was written and performed by Maron. Thank you so much for being here, and I will talk to you soon on the next episode of More to the Story.